Hello and welcome to the tutorial on how to make currywurst. So first of all we're going to be using some bratwurst sausage. If you're vegetarian or vegan you do not need to use these, you can use the alternatives. However, the traditional way is with bratwurst. As well as that we are going to need an onion. White onion is probably the best for the sauce. I'm just going to use half a large one there for this. We've got some curry powder, some paprika, some glaze, so that is balsamic glaze. You can also use the vinegar. We've got some cayenne pepper. Ketchup. Ketchup is one of the main ingredients of the sauce we're going to be using to make this. Some sea salt. You don't need to use sea salt, you can use normal table salt. I just prefer this. Some pepper. And some vegetable oil. To start with, we will be putting all our sausages in the oven. Now you don't need to put these in the oven, you can fry them or you can even boil them like you would do a hot dog. If you want to put them in the oven, it's about 170 degrees you want to put the temperature on. You make sure they're all spread out on the tray and that way they can cook the best. They'll take about 15 minutes to do. So that's it, just finishing that off. Okay, and just before you put them in, we're just going to add some oil, and this helps the skin become like a nice golden crisp colour. It's really good and important. Okay, so the next stage is the sauce. So we're going to start off with the onion. So before we do anything, you're going to cut your onion in half if you haven't already, and we're going to start to remove the skin. So it should all come off in one go. Like so. Okay, now if you do have a little bit of brown skin left, just take the next layer off as well, it won't matter too much. And there we go, nice and complete. Okay, the next stage will be to dice. So the dicing is where you cut things into squares. So to start off with, we're going to use a sharp knife, so please be careful, watch your fingers. We're going to cut down the onion. As you've noticed, I'm not cutting all the way along it, just leaving a little bit on the end because it makes it a bit easier when we cross-cut it in a moment. So nice and thin slices, as you can see, keeping my fingers well away from the blade. There we go. And once we've finished that bit, we'll then spin the onion around, and then this is where we cross-cut. Now please be careful with this bit as well. Make sure your fingers are well away from this knife because we're going to go a little bit quicker. And this is how you dice. And I'm just going to do this in an up and down motion. Okay, now once you've done that, they're still quite big chunks. If you want to have big chunks, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to just cut mine again, just to make them a little bit smaller. And all you see there is I'm just putting my fingers on the end of the blade and just using it as a rocking motion. Okay, next step is we start to make the sauce. So we're going to be cooking this on a medium temperature. I use 5 and I'm going to be using a wok to do it. You can use a frying pan or even just a normal saucepan, it's entirely up to you. I just prefer the wok. Okay, first of all we're going to add the oil and we're just going to let that sit for a little while to heat up. You'll know when it's heated up because it's nice and runny, a bit like water. I'm going to use a spatula for this just to mix it all together. And then we're going to start to put the ingredients in right now. So there we go, there's the oil I was talking about. Okay, so first thing that's going to go in is the diced onion. If you've done this hot enough, as it goes in, you'll hear it sizzle. As you can see with ours, it's already starting to cook. And we just want to make this brown. Okay, so we're going to brown the onions. It's about a 5-minute process. Don't leave the onions too long because they'll start to burn, just keep moving them around. Okay, now we start adding the rest. Now, we're going to add the ketchup in first. Now when you do this, please be careful. Don't do what I'm about to do and just drop the entire thing in there. Luckily for me though, it was the right amount of ketchup at the time. Okay, now we're going to use that and just mix it around into the sauce. Great. Now, after we've mixed it, we're going to start adding in all the other ingredients. Okay, so first of all it's going to be the pepper. Let's give that a nice sprinkling. Then we're going to add the spices and the salt. So there's the salt going in. I'm just going to put a smaller amount of that in. We don't want to put too much in. We just want it to help the food. Balsamic glaze. I put quite a lot in this because I quite like the sweetness of it. So you don't have to put as much as I have. Give that a nice little mix around. Okay, and then the last little bit we're going to add in a moment is the spices. Now with the spices, depending on how hot you want this meal to be, depends on how much you want to put in. How I normally do things is I'll put a little bit in, and then if it's not hot enough, I'll add to it. Try not to put too much in, because if you do, it could ruin the meal. So that was curry powder that's just gone in there. We're now going to put in the paprika. And you'll see all the different colours going in now of the different spices. And finally, cayenne pepper. A little bit more in. There we go. And then we're going to mix that all together. As you can see the steam coming off it, that means it's nicely cooked. So here's the sausages. They've already done, they were in for about 20 minutes. And how we're going to do this is how they do it in Germany. So they use it as a fast food kind of type of food. So we're going to put it on a takeaway dish, and I'm going to show you the proper way of doing it. So unlike in the UK where we like to put all our sausages and such in buns, how they do this dish is they will slice it into smaller pieces as I'm about to there. So just getting the last little bits together. Okay, so again, using the knife, be careful your fingers, it's a lot closer on this one. Just cut them into tiny little slices, like so. So there's one sausage done, I'm going to do another. Now, when you order these in the fast food chains in Germany, you can get these with up to 7 sausages worth of stuff. When I was over in Berlin, I ate this pretty much non-stop for 4 days. I loved it. I'm going to do the second one. Same sort of thing. Try not to let your sausage escape. And then we're just going to place that in the tray. Okay, once you've done the sausage, we're now going to get the sauce. Now again, it's entirely up to you how much sauce you want on, but I'm going to put on quite a lot on mine because I really like it. I'm just going to spread that evenly over. Think of it as a hot dog when you put your mustard and ketchup on top, that's how I see it. And then once we've put all that sauce in, there's one last ingredient that's going to go on top, just to finish it off, and that will be our curry powder. So we just get a little pinch, put it on, like so, and that finishes it off. And that is Currywurst. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy experimenting with this and trying it. It is delicious. Thank you, goodbye.